Welcome back, everybody, to the David Pakman Show. Luke Beasley here, filling in for David while he's away. You can find me at Luke Beasley on YouTube. Donald Trump did an interview on Newsmax with Eric Bolling. Yet another wild interview where Trump lashes out at Jack Smith, and now that he's expecting a fourth indictment out of Georgia, he's also been targeting Fani Willis, and we'll look at both those clips in just a moment. Truly dangerous stuff as he panics further about his legal troubles, and anyone who dares to try to hold him accountable for his possible violations of the law, he will make a target. Starting off with this.
The next question, Jack Smith.
Yeah.
Biden gets Merrick Garland to get Jack Smith to do these investigations of you.
Deranged. She's like a
No evidence of Biden being involved.
deranged human being.
Well,
I watch this guy.
What's his motivation? What's
I think he's just a sick guy. He destroyed the lives of many people. He was overturned unanimously in the Supreme Court. I believe he's 0-5. In other words, he takes it to the end. He was involved with the IRS scandal, the big Lois Lerner IRS. That was him. That was his baby, where the government had to end up paying money, damages, and apologies all over the place, where they went after Christians and they went after incredible people. Jack Smith, he's like a deranged individual, and I think we're doing very well with that guy. But he's a sick puppy. And you know, you look at the boxes. I come under the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do everything that you see. Biden didn't. Biden's got 1,850 boxes. He's got boxes in Chinatown. Now,
Just a whole lot of nonsense that is, again, dangerous. I think, as I've mentioned before on my show now multiple times, it is the sign of someone who really can't defend the allegations effectively, really can't explain why the evidence being brought against him is illegitimate, because he only focuses on the person and tries to attack the character of the person and spews a bunch of nonsense about the person who dares to attempt to hold him accountable, not actually address the specifics, the details of the allegations because of how damning the evidence is being brought against him. Or when he does try to provide an illusion of addressing specifics, he just makes up arguments or addresses arguments that aren't even relevant to the conversation. And that definitely comes up with his third indictment, him saying, I'm being indicted for my freedom of speech, when it's not that at all. And the indictment explicitly outlined that that's not what he's being indicted for. Or with the first federal indictment in relation to his willful retention of national defense information, he'll say, everything I was doing was in accordance with the Presidential Records Act, and now they're indicting me for that, when in reality, he's not being indicted for violating the Presidential Records Act, and he wasn't in compliance with the Presidential Records Act. So in both directions there, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Then he moves on to Fani Willis.
You a fair shake?
no, of course not. Look, I don't think the people of Georgia, where I did very well, and I won it the first time, and I won it, I think, by much more the second time. I can say that about the whole election, too. I don't think they'd stand for it. This woman is not a capable woman. She's a woman that has, and maybe she'll change her mind. And I don't know what she's doing. I really don't know. All I know is she could have done it 2.5 years ago if she was going to do something. And this is about a perfect phone call, a call where I'm questioning the election.
11,780 votes.
I'm telling them that, in my opinion, the election was rigged. And they're saying that I did something incorrect. I didn't do anything wrong. I believe I won that election by many, many votes, many hundreds of thousands of votes. That's what I think. And I expressed that on the phone call. And I said, I don't know what the number was, like 11,000 or something. I said, what I need
You know the number, 11,780 votes.
is 11,000 votes. I won this thing by hundreds of thousands of votes. That's my opinion. And it's a strong opinion. And I think it's borne out by the facts. And we'll see that.
It's absolutely not. And that will prove itself when Eric Bolling at the end of the interview has to note that Newsmax doesn't necessarily endorse the opinions that Trump shared there and accepts the results of the 2020 election results. We'll get to that in a bit. But again, we haven't even seen, because Trump hasn't been indicted out of Fulton County yet, specifically what he would be charged with. So it's hard necessarily to address the talking points he's saying there. But as is the case with the third indictment, second federal one, it would not be him questioning the results that he's being charged with. Obviously not. It is something such as a criminal conspiracy to overturn unlawfully and keep yourself in power, despite the democratic results of a free and fair election, and block the lawful certification process and disenfranchise voters and all of the steps involved in what could have been an unlawful attempt to keep himself in power despite losing, not just him questioning the results, which he is allowed to do even when it's very baseless. And then you have this.
They're doing this type of thing, and you're answering indictments and arraignments.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, it really is incredible. And I'm answering them not for that. I'm answering because I question an election. Not only question, I totally dispute that election. I think it's ridiculous what happened, and that they allowed that to happen, and that the media doesn't want anybody to talk about it. But now we can, and we did.
The media talks constantly about your claims about the election. It just has to be fact-checked.
Something yesterday, you know, now that we have the subpoena power, because we now have subpoena power, all of a sudden the J6 committee, the unselects I call them, everything was deleted and destroyed, the documents, everything was.
And that's the other thing that is fascinating. We've seen from one of Trump's lawyers and Trump himself, them saying that now that we have subpoena power and now that we'll be able to be in court again, we're going to prove some of these claims, which if the goal is going to be, let's go into court and defend ourselves by, or defend Trump by proving the 2020 election was stolen, have at it, because that's not going to be successful at all and would be a complete and total disaster legally. Then he moves on to the subject of Ron DeSantis.
And just like they said that, they didn't believe it, but like they said that, now they say, oh, well, we want to really run against. DeSantis is a failed candidate. If I didn't endorse DeSantis, he wouldn't have ever won. He was he was out. Then I endorsed him, and he went up and he was able to win. He went up massively in one night after I endorsed him. But he was a failed candidate. And you know what? He's a failed candidate again. He's got no personality. He's got nothing going, and he's dropped like a rock. I don't even think he's going to be 2 number long. I mean, somebody's going to come along, like maybe Tim Scott or somebody, and probably take his place. And probably this stops him in 28. You know, he could have walked into 28, maybe. You still have to campaign. You don't walk into anything. This is a tough world in politics. This is a nasty, nasty world, as we found out. Probably it's never been nastier than it is right now because we have.
Because of you. So the talking point of DeSantis could have walked right into it in 2028. It's correct to say you don't know that for sure, but it will be fascinating to watch now that it's pretty clear Ron DeSantis is dropping, as he said, like a rock and is not going to be successful in this election cycle. It's going to be fascinating to watch how that affects his future in politics. Will MAGA forever be bitter with him? Will MAGA be relevant when he would try to go at it again? Or will he just kind of fade back into being a Republican governor and people are okay with him and he takes another shot at it later? That's something I'm very interested in. And because of his revealing of how dangerous he is as a candidate, as a governor, in an attempt partly to make MAGA like him more. And that hasn't been successful making them love him, but it has been successful at least in revealing to us how dangerous he really is. Hopefully that will be remembered if he takes another shot at it later on. I really do hope that's the case. And then Eric Bolling at the end of the interview has to say this.
Oh, we thank you. The American people thank you. I thank you, Newsmax.
Thank you. And great job, great success. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
President. Thank you. All right, folks, now just a note, Newsmax has accepted the election results as legal and final. Oh.
There's that Dominion lawsuit fear rippling through the media where he goes, we've accepted the election results as legal and final, which is kind of the legal version of Joe Biden's the president. Whenever people will get asked who are sort of election deniers or don't want to make election deniers mad, do you accept the results of the 2020 election? They'll say, Joe Biden's the president. Yeah, but we're asking, do you accept that that's the legitimate result and there wasn't widespread voter fraud, there wasn't outcome determinative voter fraud? Do you accept that? And they'll go, Joe Biden was president, just continue saying that. Same thing there. Newsmax has accepted the election results as legal and final. Okay. I don't know if that's exactly as far as you should go, but you're trying to protect yourself. very interesting. Make sure you're subscribed to the David Pakman Show as you're watching this channel, and go hop over and check out my show at Luke Beasley on YouTube.
Staying properly nourished is just so important to feeling your best every day. Our sponsor, AG1, makes it so simple. Just a single scoop of AG1 a day. You get 75 high-quality vitamins and probiotics from whole food sources. You're covered for the day. Half of Americans are deficient in vitamins A and C and magnesium. Not everybody has time to perfectly plan every meal. And I don't know that any of us want to be spending a whole bunch of money on endless different vitamins and supplements. AG1 just simplifies it, and it's more cost effective. I take a single scoop of AG1 in the morning before my coffee. Tastes great with water, but you can mix it, quite frankly, into anything you want. With that one scoop, I'm covered for the day, getting everything I want. It's easy, and it's a simple routine that works. Go to drinkag1.com/Pakman to get 5 free travel packs of AG1 plus a free 1-year supply of vitamin D. The link is down below.